Okay, good morning everyone. Today we will continue with the X-ray and I'll be starting with the dental examination in the today's class. Okay, and if you have any, ask us and ask me in the chat box. I think I am audible to everyone. Okay, so okay. So last class I have told you regarding the X-ray of the elbow, and today we will continue with the X-ray of the pelvis. Okay. So pelvis is very important joint, and this will be you have lot of X-rays in the pelvic joint. So once you come to the department, we will show you the different X-rays because whatever the X-ray we show you in the slide, the magnification will be different when you see it directly. Okay. So you can even see the slides as well as once you come to the college, we will show you the exact X-rays, how it looks. Okay. And one more point is, so during your practical internal assessment, so you had asked me that few slides were not visible to you in the Microsoft Teams. So what I would suggest is you can, I think you have the class rep, no? So you can just send me the class rep's mail ID so that the PPT of this X-ray and dental examination, I will forward it to the class rep so she can circulate among yourself. Okay. So if there are any slides which are not visible in the Microsoft Teams, so you can just go through the PPT and so that will be very easy for your revision part. Okay. So I think the class rep is there. I don't know her roll number. Okay. So the class rep, you can send me your mail ID through WhatsApp. Okay. You have my number, I suppose. So you can just send me your mail ID. Okay. So that I will just forward this PPT. So today I'll just be little fast because I should cover even the dental examination. Okay. So first we will start with the X-ray of the pelvis. So for the pelvic joint, everybody knows. What is the appearance and fusion of the iliac crust, everything? Because in the theory, in the practical internal assessment, most of you answered that part. So in the X-ray, how do you find out whether it has appeared or fused? So that part I'll be discussing. So the one thing very special about the pelvic joint is apart from the X-rays, you can also identify the gender, whether it belongs to male or whether the X-ray belongs to female. So the other X-rays, as I told you, the skull, the shoulder joint, the elbow, wrist, you can't identify whether it is male or female. So, but in pelvic joint, you can easily identify whether the X-ray belongs to male or female. So that part will be asked in your practicals. So the basic thing that you are supposed to know in a pelvic joint is the parts of the pelvic bone. So the main parts of the pelvic bone is the iliac crust. Uh, so you have three bones. So the pelvic bone is mainly constituted by ilium, ischium, and pubis. So these are the three bones which constitute the pelvic bone. So first is the ilium. So the whatever the topmost part of the ilium you see, that is called as the iliac crust. So the next you have the triradiate cartilage. So the triradiate cartilage in the X-ray, it is nothing but it is the union of the ilium, ischium, and pubis. It is just adjacent to the acetabulum. So in this you can see the triradiate cartilage. I think there is no labeling in this. So you just concentrate on the acetabulum. So you have the acetabulum there which is labeled. So just wherever the ilium, ischium, and pubis join. So that is called as the triradiate cartilage. And the next is the ischial tuberosity. So here you have the labeling for the ischial tuberosity on your left hand side. So that is the ischial tuberosity. And next is the istiopubic ramus. So next to the ischial tuberosity, you have the istiopubic ramus. Okay. So these are the few parts which you are supposed to know in the pelvic joint. And the next is the head of the femur, the head, the greater trochanter, and the lesser trochanter. Okay. So these are the few things that you're supposed to know in the pelvic joint which will be asked. So the next we will go for the age of appearance. So everybody knows this because everybody answered, almost 80% of the students answered in the internal assessment. So it is just a revision for you. The head of the femur appear. You can just remember for the head of the femur, that is for the upper end of the femur. You can remember 1, 4, 14. So that is very easy. 1 is for the head of the femur, 4 is for the greater trochanter, and 14 is for the lesser trochanter. Okay, it is 1, 4, 14. So that is a very easy method to remember for the upper end of the femur. For the humerus, I told you it is 1, 3, 5. So 1 is for the head of the humerus, 3 is for the greater tubercle, and 5 is for the lesser tubercle. So it is very easy if you remember it like this. So the head of the femur, it appears at the age of 1 year, and greater trochanter is at 4 years, lesser trochanter is at 14 years. Okay. So the next we will go for the triradiate cartilage. It appears at the age of 13 years. So since it is a cartilage, we don't tell it as fusion. So we tell it as obliteration. Obliteration of the triradiate cartilage happens at the age of 15 years. So it is 13 and 15. So the next very important part is the hilea crust. That is the topmost one. So hilea crust, it appears at the age of 14 years and it fuses at the age of 20 to 21 years. And the next is the ischial tuberosity, which appears at the age of 16 years and it fuses at the age of 20 to 21 years. Both hilea crust and ischial tuberosity, it fuses at the age of 20 to 21 years. And according to a few textbooks, they tell that the hilea crust fuses first. And after around 6 to 1 year, like 6 months to 1 year, the ischial tuberosity will fuse. Okay. So if they ask you which fuses early in these two, so it is the hilea crust which fuses early and later is the ischial tuberosity. And the last one is the istiopubic ramus. You don't have any appearance for the istiopubic ramus. There is only fusion which fuses at the age of 6 years. Okay. So these are the age of appearance and fusion of the hip joint. So totally the hip joint, that is the hip bone and the femur, it fuses at the age of 17 to 18 years. This is very important. So hip bone, that is the head of the femur, it fuses at the age of 17 to 18. And when you go for the knee joint, just below it, it is 18 to 19. Okay. So don't confuse this. Hip is always 17 to 18 and knee is 18 to 19 and again ankle is 17 to 18. Okay. So how we remember is when you fold the leg. So when you just flex the leg, the ankle joint as well as the hip joint, it comes together. So these both are 17 to 18. Okay. And the knee joint is 18 to 19. Okay. So this is a very easy method to remember the age of fusion of the hip joint. Okay. So the next we will go for the next slide. So this is the slide showing you how you identify whether it belongs to male or female. So there are two important points that will tell you whether the given X-ray belongs to male or female in case of pelvic X-ray. So the first one is you should see for the soft tissue shadow. So just concentrate on the left hand side. Okay, you have one X-ray. So I have named it as male 1. So here you can see the scrotal shadow. Okay. So the scrotal shadow, it is just oval in shape. So that suggests that it is a male X-ray. So the one more important point to suggest that whether it is male or female is you should see for the subpubic angle. Okay. So the subpubic angle is nothing but the gap in between the two pubis. Okay. So you would have studied in the bone, the subpubic angle is V shape in case of males and it is U shape or broader in case of females. So in this X-ray, on the just concentrate on the male X-ray. So you can see the scrotal shadow as well as the subpubic angle is V-shaped. Okay, so that is a thing how you identify whether it is male or female. And coming to the right hand side, you have the female X-ray. So here you don't have any scrotal shadow. Okay, so there is no scrotal shadow, and the subpubic angle is very wide or it is very broad. Okay. So this is a way how you can tell whether it belongs to male or female. So these two important points are very important to identify whether the given X-ray belongs to male or female. So now we will go for the age estimation. So in this X-ray, you can see the hilea crust. the topmost part. So that is the hylium. So if the hylia crust has appeared, it looks like a cap-like structure. I'll show in the next few slides. So how the hylia crust appears. So here it has not appeared. So that is the reason the age is less than 14 years, because the hylia crust appears at the age of 14. So here it has not appeared. So the next coming from the triradiate cartilage. So here you can see the triradiate cartilage. Just concentrate on the acetabulum. Just next to acetabulum, just right to the acetabulum, you have one irregular structure. So that is called as the triradiate cartilage. So here it is not regular. It is little bit irregular. So that means the triradiate cartilage has appeared. So that is, it is 13 years, but it is not obliterated. So that is the reason I have mentioned it is less than 15 years. Okay. So the next we will go for the head of the femur. So in the upper end of the femur, you have the head of the femur has appeared, the greater trochanter has appeared. The bigger one is the greater trochanter, and the lesser trochanter has also appeared. It is very small. Okay, so that is the reason I am giving it. It is more than 12 years. Normally the lesser trochanter they tell 12 to 14 years. Okay, so since here the hylia crust has not appeared, so I am fixing it. It is less than 12 years. Okay, so hence the age is more than 13. Why more than 13? The triradiate cartilage has appeared, and less than 14 because the hylia crust has not appeared. Okay, so that is the reason. Even the upper end of the femur is not fused. So once you tell the hylia crust has not appeared, so no need to comment on the head of the femur, because that fuses little bit later, that is 17 to 18. So this X-ray, you can tell the age is more than 30 because the triradiate cartilage is has appeared, and it is less than 14 because the hylia crust has not appeared. And this X-ray, it belongs to male. You can see the scrotal shadow down. So this belongs to a male X-ray, and even the subpubic angle is V-shaped. Okay. If you have any doubts, please ask me. Okay. So the next one. So when you see this X-ray, you can tell it is a female X-ray. You don't have any scrotal shadow, and even the subpubic angle is very wide. So this is a female X-ray. So here you can see the hylia crust. Just on the top where it is mentioned as R. Okay, just below that you can see there is one bone. So that is the hylia crust. Okay, so you can see a small gap there. So if this gap is present, it means the hylia crust has appeared, but it is not fused. Okay. So when you compare this with the previous X-ray, you don't see such cap-like structure above the hylium. Okay. So that is the reason in this X-ray I have told you it is hylia crust has not appeared. But in this X-ray, the hylia crust has appeared, but it is not fused. Okay. So the next C for the triradiate cartilage. So it is even. Okay. When you see the previous X-ray, the triradiate cartilage, it is little irregular. Okay. You can see some elevation just adjacent to the head of the femur. You can see some elevation. So, but in this X-ray, it is almost even, the triradiate cartilage. So, it has appeared and it is fused. Okay. So, when you tell the triradiate cartilage has appeared and fused, the age is more than 15 years with respect to triradiate cartilage. The next we will go for the head of the femur. So, you can see the head of the femur, the greater trochanter, the lesser trochanter has appeared. Okay. So, everything has appeared and it is also fused. So when it fuses at the age of 17 to 18 years. And even here you can see the ischial tuberosity, it has not appeared. Okay. So the one important aspect with ischial tuberosity is you should go very close to the X-ray. Only then you can identify whether the ischial tuberosity has appeared or not. Okay. So but in this X-ray it has not appeared. I'll show you the next X-ray how it looks. Okay. So you can see on the right hand side, on your left hand side, so you can see there is some bone protuberance which is seen in the ischial tuberosity, but it is not clear on the right side. Okay, only on the left side it is little clear. So where you can see there is some bone protuberance. That is the reason I have mentioned the ischial tuberosity has appeared, but it is not fused. Okay, so overall with this X-ray, the age is more than 17. Why it is more than 17? Because the head of the femur has appeared and fused. So it is more than 17, and less than 20 because the hylia crest has not fused and even the ischial tuberosity has not fused. Okay, so that is the reason it is less than 20 years. So this is a child X-ray. So here you can identify the hylium, and you don't see the pubis. Okay, there is no pubis, and you can see the head of the femur. The oval part, whichever is there, that is the head of the femur. You don't have the greater trochanter, and even there is no lesser trochanter. You have only the hylium. So, since it is a child X-ray, only the head of the femur has appeared and the greater trochanter has not appeared. The age is more than 1 year because the head of the femur has appeared, and less than 4 years because the greater trochanter has not appeared. Okay, so whenever it is a child X-ray, you can't comment on the hylia crest, the ischial tuberosity, all that, because that appears very late. It appears at the age of 14 years. So you can only comment on the head of the femur, the greater trochanter. Only these two things will tell you what is the age of the child. So it is more than 1 year and less than 4 years. Okay, and this is a male one. You can see some amount of scrotal shadow here. So that is the reason it is a male X-ray. So even this is very clear. So here you can see the hylia crest. There is a clear demarcation between the hylia crest and the hylium. You can see a clear demarcation at the edges. You can see, okay, not on the top. Just see the edges. So where you can see there is a small gap between the hylia crest and the helium. So you have the hylia crest has appeared, and even the triradiate cartilage has appeared and fused, and the head of the femur is fused completely. Okay, and the ischial tuberosity, it's in this X-ray it is very clearly seen. So you can see a small protuberance at the ischial tuberosity. So if you are not able to appreciate in this X-ray, once you come to the college, we will show you how the ischial tuberosity appear. So on the right hip bone, you can see there is some irregular margin. So that is the appearance of the ischial tuberosity. Okay. So here the age what we have fixed is it is more than 17 because the upper end of the femur is appeared and fused, and it is less than 20 because the hylia crest is not fused. Even the ischial tuberosity is not fused, and this is a female X-ray. You can see a broad pelvic angle. Okay, the subpubic angle is very broad, and this is a female X-ray. So the next here you can see even the head of the femur has appeared, even the hylia crest has appeared and fused. You can see the triradiate cartilage which is completely obliterated. Even the ischial tuberosity has appeared and fused. So here this X-ray, it belongs to an adult one where it is more than 20 years, and it is a male X-ray where you can see the scrotal shadow. So this is with respect to the pelvic joint. So the next we will go for the knee joint. So the knee joint, we have only few X-rays with respect to the knee joint. So before starting with the knee joint, so knee joint, it mainly includes the lower end of the femur, the upper end of the tibia, the upper end of the fibula. Okay, so these are the three bones which constitute the knee joint, and you also have the patella. So the lower end of the femur, it appears at 9th month of intrauterine life, and upper end of tibia, it appears at birth, and upper end of fibula, even that appears at the age of 4 years. Okay, so the knee joint, it fuses at the age of 18 to 19 years, and patella, you have only the appearance of patella. It is a single bone and you don't have any fusion of patella, so that appears at the age of 3 to 5 years. So this is a knee joint which you are seeing. So the top one is the lower end of the femur.
The slides are not moving.
It's not moving. But here I don't have any other problem. Just wait, okay? I think it will move. Now which slide you have?
Now it's in knee joint, ma'am. The heading of the knee.
heading of the knee joint. Can you see the age of appearance?
No, ma'am.
I think you have some net problem because here I don't have any other problem. What about the other students? You can just mention me in the chat box.
Ma'am, actually, we have the option of changing it ourselves.
Okay, fine. You can do. That is best option. Okay, you can do that, no problem. Okay. Just wait, no, I think something happened here. Okay, is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay, so this slide I've already told you the age of appearance of lower end of femur, upper end of tibia, fibula, and patella. So the next we will go for the next slide. So this is the X-ray showing you the lower knee joint where you have the lower end of the femur and the upper end of the tibia, and you can also see the fibula. Okay, on the lateral view you can see the fibula, and the lower end of femur has appeared. So obviously it appears at the age of 9th month of intrauterine life, and even the upper end of the tibia has appeared, which appears at birth, and even the fibula has appeared, which appears at the age of 4 years, and you can also see the patella, which appears at the age of 3 to 5 years. So the one problem with the knee joint is you can't go very close to the age estimation. Okay, you can just give a wide range because you have 18 years, only 9th month of intrauterine life, and one more is at birth and one more is at 4 years. So you can there is only you can give only the wide range of age estimation. So that is the reason the age is less than 18 years. Why less than 18 years is since the lower end of femur and upper end of tibia is not fused, so it is less than 18 years. So why I have not mentioned more than is, so I can mention it as more than 5 years since the patella has appeared more than 5 years, because here the gap becomes 5 to 18 years. So the gap is very big. So that is the reason we don't mention more than. Okay. So we only tell it is less than 18 years. So in the initial few classes I have told you, so the gap should be very less. Okay, whatever you are telling more than and less than, so the gap should not be more. A maximum it can be only up to 4 to 5 years, not more than that. Okay, so here the age is just less than 18 years with this X-ray. So even this is also the same X-ray where you can see the lower end of the femur which has appeared, the tibia which has appeared but it is not fused. Yet you can also see the fibula as well as the patella. Okay, so even this is less than 18 years. So even this is the same X-ray. So but here you can also see the ankle joint. Okay, so you can see the lower end of tibia and fibula. So you know the ankle joint it fuses at the age of 16 to 17. So that is the age of fusion of the ankle joint, while the knee joint it fuses at 18 to 19. So here you can see the small gap between the lower end of the tibia as well as in the fibula. You can see the small gap at the lower end. So it is not fused. So that is the reason instead of mentioning less than 18 years, so we have mentioned it as less than 16 years because the lower end of the tibia and fibula is not fused. Okay. So whenever the X-ray is given, you should be very careful. See whatever the joint is visible because each joint will fuse at a different age. Okay, so there might be only 1 to 2 years difference, but even that is very important. Okay, since you know what is the medical legal importance of age 16 years, 18 years. So that is the reason it is very important. Once you tell it is more than 18, the person will be a major, and if he commits any crime, he will be liable for the punishment. So once you tell he is less than 16, he will not be responsible for the criminal act. Okay. So that is the reason even 1 or 2 years is very important in forensic. Okay. So this is one X-ray. This is a single person's X-ray. Whatever you're seeing this, so it all belongs to the same person. So when this X-ray is kept, you are very lucky because once you see one joint, if you are not familiar with that joint when it appears, when it views, you can concentrate on some other joint. Okay, since all these X-ray belongs to a same person, so the age you can tell very accurately. Okay, it is very, you can easily tell the age. So once you see the pelvic joint, you can tell it is a female X-ray. Okay, so since there is a broad pelvic angle, that is a subpubic angle, so you can tell it belongs to a female X-ray. So first we will go from the top, that is the shoulder X-ray. So in the shoulder X-ray, you can see the head of the humerus is completely fused. Okay, you can also see the coracoid and the acromion process. So even that appears to be fused. So I have told you the head of the femur it fuses at the age of 17 to 18 years. So you with the shoulder joint you can tell the age is more than 17 years. So that is with respect to the shoulder joint. So the next come for the pelvic X-ray. So in the pelvic X-ray, you can see the iliac crest has appeared. Go very close to the X-ray. So only then you can tell whether it has appeared and fused or not. Okay. So when you see the iliac crest, you can see a small gap. Okay. It is not completely fused. You can see the small gap on the lateral side of the iliac crest. So that means it is not fused. And in this X-ray, you can also see the ischial tuberosity. Okay, there is some protuberance on the lateral side of the ischial tuberosity. So that is called as the appearance of the ischial tuberosity. So both the iliac crest and the ischial tuberosity has appeared, but it is not fused with the bone. So that is the reason it is less than 20 years. Since it is not fused, I am fixing it to be less than 20. And even the upper end of the femur is completely fused. So you can see the head, the greater trochanter, the lesser trochanter has completely fused. It is more than 17 years. So the next come for the skull, that is a mandible. So in the mandible, you can see the first molar has appeared, the second molar has appeared, and the third molar has appeared, but it is within the socket. Okay, so there is no complete eruption of the third molar. So normally the third molar erupts at 17 to 21 years. So that is the age of the third molar. So but here you can see it is almost at the level of the neck of the second molar. Okay, so if the person, when you get this person, you can see the third molar crown. When you just tell the person to open the mouth, you can just see the crown of the third molar. Once you tell to open the mouth, you can see the crown of the third molar. So that is the one. And the next is go for the wrist joint. So in the wrist joint, you can see all the carpal bones have appeared, and even the base of the first metacarpal is fused. Okay, that fuses at the age of 15 to 17. Even the base of the first metacarpal is completely fused. And the lower end of the radius and ulna, it shows recent fusion. Okay, so you can see small demarcation and it is recently fused. So that is the reason it is just 17 years with the wrist joint. So the next, the elbow joint, everything has appeared and fused. So it is more than 16 years. So overall, the age of this person is, it is more than 18 years. Why more than 18 years? Because the shoulder joint is fused, even the pelvic joint is fused, and you can also see the wrist joint which shows a recent fusion. And why it is less than 20 years is because the iliac crest and the ischial tuberosity is not fused. Okay, so that is the reason it is less than 20 years. And in the wrist joint, you can see that it is a recent fusion. You can see there is a small white line you can see in the lower end of the radius and ulna. So if it is an old fusion, you don't see this white line. So it is a recent fusion. That is the reason you can see a small line. So normally the wrist joint, it fuses at 17 to 18. So it is more than 17 and less than 18 with respect to the wrist joint. Okay. So you should, when this X-ray is given, when multiple X-rays are given to you, so in that case, you can just examine any one X-ray and give your opinion. Okay, so by chance, if it is a pelvic X-ray, if you are examining the pelvic X-ray, so the age will be more than 17 years and less than 20 years. More than 17 because the head of the femur is fused, and less than 20 because the iliac crest has not fused. Okay, so this whole thing is a single one. It is a single X-ray. Okay. So this will end up with the X-ray examination. So this is a format. This is just the format which is there in your record. How do you write the X-ray examination? Okay, this is already there in your record. So these are the preliminaries which you are supposed to fill it. So first is the name of the person. So the name of the person will be mentioned in the X-ray. Okay, so that is the name of the person. And what is the X-ray number? So X-ray number is nothing but there is one number given at the bottom of the X-ray. So that will be the X-ray number, and even the date will be mentioned in that, and whether it is a plain or a contrast X-ray. So whatever we have is all plain X-ray. Okay, you don't have any contrast X-ray, so you should take it as a plain X-ray. And whether you're examining an AP view or a PA view or a lateral view, even that has to be mentioned. And the next one is bone shadows seen. So what bones you're seeing, whether if it is a pelvic joint, you're seeing the ilium, the ischium, the pubis, the head of the femur, the greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter. So that has to be mentioned here. And the next one is alleged age. So what is the age that is alleged by the person? So that has to be mentioned here, and the address has to be mentioned, and identification mark. So identification mark is very important in forensic medicine. So when we give you the X-ray, we don't tell you any identification mark. But to just test whether you're supposed to see for the identification mark, so this column is very important. Okay. So the next come for the tabular column. So in this tabular column, first one you have the serial number, and the next you have the ossification centers. So this is for in this X-ray examination. So they have examined the pelvic X-ray. So they have mentioned what are the ossification centers you're supposed to see in the pelvic X-ray, as well as the mandible they have examined. So next column will be the age of appearance. So by chance if it is a Osteopubic ramus. The age of appearance will be intrauterine life. And the next is age of fusion. When does it fuse? So all this you're supposed to write. Okay, when it appears, when it fuses. And the fourth column will be what is your finding in the X-ray. So whether the iliac crest has appeared, whether the triradiate cartilage has appeared, whether the ischial tuberosity has appeared. So all this has to be mentioned in the fourth column. Okay, it is just one by one you're supposed to mention it. And next column will be the fifth column, if it has appeared, whether it is fused or not. Okay, whatever you have seen, whether it is fused or not, each one you're supposed to mention it here. And the last column will be your interpretation. What is the age you finalize after examining all this, more than and less than. Okay, so this is the way you're supposed to write it in your records. Okay, once you come back, we will give you x-rays and you're supposed to fill up this page. Okay, and the last will be the opinion. So on examination of the given x-ray bearing number and dated, the age of the individual is above dash years and below dash years. So this has to be mentioned, and even the place and date has to be mentioned. And the last will be your signature. Okay, on the right hand side, that part is not seen here. So you should put your signature and your KMC registration number as well as the seal and date. So that has to be mentioned. So why do we get the X-ray examination is right now we get only for the sexual offences cases. Okay, if there is any rape case, so they get both the accused as well as the victim for examination. So as well as we should tell the age of the accused and victim. Okay, so indirectly whatever the punishment that is given will depend on the age. So in any case of sexual offense, we do the X-ray examination. We send the person to the radiology. We get the X-rays done, and we give the age certificate. Okay, the format which we follow is the same. How we give the age certificate. So that is the one case where we get where we do the X-ray examination. And the next case where we do is in case of murder. Okay, if the accused is a minor, if the accused tells that his age is 15 years or 16 years, in that case we do for the X-ray examination. So we see for the X-ray and we tell whether he is a major or minor and what is the age of that person. Okay, so that is the importance of doing the X-ray. Okay, so this completes with the X-ray examination. So the next I will go for the dental examination. Okay. I think the dental examination, the mandible part is already told to you. When does the temporary teeth erupt? When does the permanent teeth erupt? All that. So in your practicals, you will have the three major exercises which will be asked is one is the bone, examination of the bone, and interpretation of X-ray, and these two things will carry 5 marks each. Okay, bone will have 5 marks and X-rays will have 5 marks, and most important is the dental examination which will have around 10 marks. Okay, so the dental examination is very important, so it carries the major marks, and you have the format in your records. Okay, for bone there is a different format, for X-ray there is a different format, and even for the dental examination you have a different format. So even the dental examination is mainly for the age estimation. Okay, so why we examine the dentistry is mainly to find out what age the person belongs. So coming to the introduction, so the eruption pattern of the teeth follows a sequential pattern which is used for estimation of the age. So mainly we see for the teeth eruption and we tell what is the age of the person. So the age can be estimated based on eruption pattern of teeth up to 25 years. So you all know the third molar, the upper limit for the third molar, some people even at 25 years there is eruption of the third molar. Okay, so the third molar is nothing but what we call as wisdom teeth. Okay, that is a third molar, and few textbooks they give the upper limit 21. So but you can restrict it to 25 years. Till 25 years you can wait for the eruption of the third molar. So till then you can estimate the age based on the dental examination. So the eruption pattern of both temporary and permanent teeth is used to estimate the age. So after 21 years, it can be estimated by Gustafson's method, which is based on various changes in the teeth. So Gustafson's method is very important. It is repeatedly asked in your theory exams. So I'll tell you what is Gustafson's method. So what this tells is up to 25 years, based on the gross appearance of the teeth eruption, you can tell what is the age. So after 25 years, how can you tell the age based on the teeth? So for that we use the Gustafson's method. Okay, Gustafson's method is mainly used after 25 years to estimate the age of the person based on teeth. So this is a picture showing you the mandible. So what we used to do previously is for dental examination we used to get a child and we used to tell to do the examination. But now we have some problem with that. Even that amounts to child labor. So that is the reason we are not getting you the child. Okay, for final exams we don't get you the child. We just give you one mandible and we tell you to write the format and write the dental examination for that mandible. Okay, so for that you should know what are the parts of the mandible. So in this diagram it is very clear. So you have the condylar process, the coronoid process, and you have the alveolar process, the mental foramen. So this mental foramen is very important. In the practical internal assessment I asked you what is the importance of mental foramen in forensic aspect. I think only one person answered it. Okay, so I'll tell you what is the importance of mental foramen, and you have the angle of the mandible. Even this angle of the mandible is very important. Okay, there is no importance of mandibular foramen. Only there is importance of mental foramen in forensic, as well as the condyloid process and the coronoid process. There is importance. I'll tell you in the next few slides. So first, whenever a mandible is given to you, okay, so you should know what is whether it is a male or a female mandible. Okay, so any bone for that matter, whether it is a skull or a pelvic bone or a femur bone, so the differences between male and female you're supposed to know. So the first one is the size of the mandible. In males it is larger and thicker, and in females it is smaller and thinner. I think most of you know this. In the bone examination they would have told you. And the chin is U-shaped or square shaped in males, and in females it is rounded. How do you find out the shape of the chin? Just keep the mandible over a paper and just draw from inward and see whether it is U-shaped or whether it is little rounded. So that is the way you can find out the shape of the mandible. And the next is a body height. It is greater at symphysis in males and it is smaller at symphysis. So the body height is nothing but you should just see the length of the mandible at the body. Here they have mentioned the body no on your right hand mandible picture. Just take the length of this body. So that is more in case of males and it is less in case of females. And ascending ramus, it has a greater breadth in males and a smaller breadth in female. So what does it mean? So ascending ramus is nothing but you have the body and you have the ramus. So this ascending ramus, it has a greater breadth in males and it has a lesser breadth in females. And the next is the angle of the mandible with the ramus. It is also called as gonion. It is less obtuse, prominent and everted. So it is everted in case of males and it is more obtuse, less prominent and inverted in case of females. So normally the angle is everted in males and it is inverted in females. And the next one is the condyles. It is larger in males and it is smaller in females. And even the mental foramen, it is little larger in mental tubercle. It is larger in males and it is smaller in females. Okay, so these are the major difference between the male and female mandible. So the next we will go for the age of mandible. So in the mandible you have studied how to identify the gender, and the next one is the age. So the alveolar cavities which contain the teeth are formed around third or fourth month of intrauterine life. So normally whatever the alveolar cavities that we have, so normally it appears at the age of third to fourth month of intrauterine life itself. Okay, so whenever the fetus is present in utero, at that time itself you see for the alveolar cavities with the teeth. You don't see exactly the teeth. You have the germ cells for the teeth at the third and fourth month of intrauterine life. At birth, the rudiments of all temporary teeth and of the permanent and the first permanent teeth are found in the jaw. So what does that mean? So you have the germ cells of all the temporary teeth as well as the first permanent teeth. So those germ cells will be present at the time of birth. Okay. So the germ, for the second and third permanent molar, you don't have the germ cells. Okay. So the next, the teeth calcify from crown to neck to root. So that is first the crown appears and later the neck appears and later the root appears. Okay. So first is the crown. Whatever you see the upper part of the teeth, so that is the one which gets calcified first, and the next is the neck, and next is the root. Okay. It is not like the first the root appears and next is the neck or the crown. So first it is a crown that appears and next is the neck and last will be the root. So the next is the what do you mean by eruption? So this most of you have the confusion. What does eruption mean? So eruption is defined as the superior part of the crown of the teeth appearing level with the surface of the alveolar bone. So whatever you have the alveolar bone, so whenever you see the teeth, it is not at the level of the second molar or the first molar. So it is at the level of the alveolar bone. Whenever you are able to see the teeth, so that means there is eruption. So that is the definition of eruption of the teeth. So I think now it is very clear. So whenever the crown of the teeth appearing level with the surface of the alveolar bone, so you call it as eruption. So the next is in both temporary and permanent teeth, the dentition occurs earlier in the lower jaw. So this is very important. So normally the teeth appears first in the lower jaw and later it appears in the upper jaw. So the lower jaw teeth will appear first and the next is the upper jaw teeth which appears, except for the lateral incisor which erupts at the upper earlier when compared to the lower. All other teeth will erupt first in the lower jaw and later in the upper jaw. And one more thing very important is the teeth eruption is earlier in females when compared to that of the males. Okay, in females it is it is almost 6 months to 1 year earlier, and in males it is little bit delayed. So these are the important points that you should know with relate to the teeth. And the next one is the wisdom teeth. It first erupts in the lower jaw on the left and then on the right side. Okay. So everybody you would have experienced the wisdom teeth. So wisdom teeth is nothing but the third molar which erupts at 17 to 25 years. So first it erupts at the lower jaw on the left side and later on the right side. Oh, that is the one thing which happens with respect to wisdom teeth. And eruption is not always completely symmetrical. So it is not that on right if it erupts, even on the left it should erupt on the same time. So there is some variation between the eruption. So it is not always symmetrical. And tooth eruption in females may be 1 year before that of males. And mixed dentition. So mixed dentition is nothing but where you see there is both temporary teeth as well as permanent teeth in the jaw. Okay. So you have both temporary and permanent teeth. So this mixed dentition you see up to the age of 12 years. Okay, up to the age of 12 years, you see there is both temporary teeth as well as permanent teeth in the jaw, where you see both temporary and permanent teeth in the jaw. That is called as mixed dentition, which is seen up to 12 years. So this is the parts of the teeth. So whenever you are examining the teeth, you should know what are the parts of the teeth. So first you have the crown, that is the upper part of the teeth, that is called as the crown. And next you have the neck, and last you have the root of the teeth. Okay, so that is with respect to the external part. And internally you should know what are the parts that are present in the internal aspect of the teeth. So first you have the enamel. So enamel is nothing but the outer covering of the teeth. So whatever you are seeing now, the white part of the teeth, okay, even in your teeth, if whenever you see, so the whatever the white outer part is there, that is called as the enamel of the teeth. and inside to the enamel you have the dentin, and inside to the dentin you have the pulp cavity. Okay, so the pulp cavity, it has lot of medico legal importance. So the with the pulp cavity you can do the DNA analysis. Okay, so it is very important, and even you can examine the blood group of the person. So once you have a teeth with you, so you can do the DNA analysis, you can identify the person, or you can also do the blood grouping of the person. But the pulp cavity should be intact. Only if you have the pulp cavity, you can do all this. Okay. And the next you have the roots. So that is the root canal, and you have the gums. Okay. So these parts are very important whenever you are studying Gustafson's method. So what is Gustafson's method? What is the medico-legal importance of Gustafson's method? I'll show you in the next few slides. So these things are very important. The enamel, the dentin, the pulp cavity. So all these are very important. Okay. So this is the parts of the teeth. So here you can see what are how the teeth are aligned. So in this picture it is very clear. So you have the central incisor. So few students, they don't even answer which is central incisor, which is canine, which is first premolar. So you should know all these. These are very basic. Even in your PUC you would have studied all this. So it is very basic. You should know what teeth it is. When a teeth is given to you, you should identify whether it is a central incisor or a lateral incisor. So you have the central incisor, the lateral incisor, you have the canine. So canine, normally the ends will be sharp. Okay, so that is the canine. Central incisor, the ends will be blunt. It is just horizontal. So that is the way how you differentiate between central and lateral incisor. And you have the premolars. You have two the first premolar and the second premolar, but you don't have the premolars in temporary. Okay, you have the premolars only in permanent teeth, and you don't have it in temporary teeth. And you have the molars. You have molar 1, molar 2, and molar 3. Okay, so in temporary teeth you have only 20 temporary teeth. Okay, so 5 in each side. Okay, 5 on the right upper, 5 on the left upper. So totally you have 20 temporary teeth, and permanent teeth you have 32. Okay, so this is very important. These are all the basics. Okay, temporary you have 20 temporary teeth, and permanent you have 32 permanent teeth. Okay, so this is a slide showing you the different teeth, how it is aligned in the jaw. So these are the differences between the different teeth. The incisors, that is either it can be a central incisor or a lateral incisor. The incisors, the crown is sharp like a chisel. The root is single. Okay. In the incisors, you have only a single root. Okay. So that is very important. And canine, it is larger than incisor. Even here the root is single and it is larger and thicker. Okay, when you compare the root with the incisor, the canine roots are little larger and they are thicker. And next is the premolars. So the premolars are smaller and shorter than canine. The chewing surface has two cusps. So in this diagram you can see the premolars. The cusps are nothing but the depressions in the teeth. So these are, you have only two cusps here in the premolars. So that is the reason the premolars are also called as bicuspid. Bicuspid is it has only two cusps, and the root is single, but in few times it can also be double. So the roots are normally single in premolars, and sometimes the root can be double. So how do you differentiate premolars and molars? Is in molars you have 3 to 4 cusps and the root is double, or it can also be 3 roots will be present. Okay, so the molars are larger, crown is cubital, it has 3 to 4 or 5 cusps. The upper molar has 3 roots. This is very important. So normally the upper jaw, that is the maxillary jaw, the molars has 3 roots, while the lower one they have only 2 roots. That is the mandibular molars, they have only 2 roots. So this is a way how you differentiate the different teeth based on the appearance as well as the cusps and the roots of the teeth. So in this you can see the premolars, these are the cusps, the single cusp, or the normally the premolars has only 2 cusps. That is very important. So there are only 2, and sometimes there can also be 3. While the molars, they have 3 to 4 cusps. So this is a diagram showing you the different teeth. So these are the roots. So you can see the incisor root, how it looks, the canine roots, how it looks, and the premolars, normally it is single, sometimes it can be double, and the molars which have 3 roots, 3 or 4 roots sometimes. Okay. So this part I will take it in the next class. The temporary teeth eruption, all that I'll tell you in the next class. Okay. If you have any doubts, you can just ask me. Any doubts? There are totally 220 students now. So I've taken the attendance. Okay. Hope you don't have any doubts. Okay, fine. The class rep, you can send me your mail ID. Okay. I will just forward the PPT. So whoever asks you, you can just mail them. Okay. Okay, fine. I will just end the meeting now. Hope you don't have any doubts. Okay, I'll end the meeting now. Okay, thank you. Thank you.